Hello everyone, welcome back to another part of the pizza web page. In the previous video we learned how we fetch the JSON data and display it to the user, and we created this simple UI, and we also learned how we could filter the pizza menu based on these tags. So we can click on chicken, then chicken pizza will get rendered. Vegetarian will be responsible to rendering all the veggie pizzas, and the meat pizzas has lamb and beef and garlic lamb pepper into it. And if you click on all, then we will have this one. So this is what we did in the previous video, but what we want to do next is now we want this menu to be interactive, so we can click on it and any pizzas, and then it open up an overlay or a pop-up that we can actually then add to the cart. So then we can actually add as many pizza we want, and we can send it to a cart where we can place an order. This is how a normal pizza website works, like when you order online. So now when I click on this, you can see I can hover over it, but it doesn't really work. So what I have to do is I have to create an overlay, and then I have to pass the props to that overlay. So all these menu props will get passed to the overlay component, and then I will add a function that will be responsible to open that overlay upon clicking on each one of these pizzas, right? So let's go ahead and see how we can do that. So here I'm back in my VS Code. I'm continuing where we left this project from the previous video. If you haven't seen that video, the link is in the description. Please go check it. This is like a separate playlist for this project. So if you don't know what's going on, please watch the first video to get up to this point. And if you have already watched the first video, so we can continue implementing the next feature. So let's go ahead and create a component which we will call overlay. You can name it whatever you want. I will name it overlay, or maybe pizza overlay.tsx, of course, because we are in React. I'm going to use the snippet React arrow function component export, and let's import the style component already, because we need to style this overlay as well. So let's declare the style components const overlay style.div, and the template literals, let's change the name of this div to overlay. And now we will do our overlay inside this. So first thing we will do is we will create an overlay, and then we'll see how the design look like. So I'm gonna render this overlay component over here. In order to do that, you can come to your app where we are rendering the home component. We can comment it out for now, and we can simply render pizza overlay, enter, self-closing bracket. Now we are on a blank page, so this is where we're gonna see our overlay design. Coming back to the pizza overlay, let's start implementing that. So first thing, we're gonna have a div which will be the pizza menu. So this is like the whole parent div for everything. Everything will go inside this one, and inside this we're gonna have an image at the top. What I'm gonna do for now, I'm gonna get a random image from Google. So pizza image, let's go ahead and let's get this image here. I'm going to copy image address, and then let's make this bigger. So I'm going to render this image here, which is rendering here. Don't worry about this, later we will only render the images that the user is clicking on. So the pizza that user clicked on, that's the image will be shown here. But for now it's just for the UI. While I'm creating the UI, we'll just keep this one here, and then we will have the name of the pizza. So I'm gonna name it something pizza. After that, we need a little description for that pizza, so I'm gonna add p tag, and I'm gonna give it a description lorem 20, which is just a random number, a random paragraph generating lorem ipsum. And next one we can do is we can give it another div to have a bottom area. This will contain the price and the buttons, that will be the quantity buttons and the open, add to cart, and the close the overlay button. So first thing first, let's have bottom area, and then another class inside this, price area. Inside the price area class, I'm gonna add a button, and this will be the minus button underneath this, and H3 for the price. So price we can just give $20.99, and another button which is the plus sign. So this is for the quantity, like we want to add or take away the quantity of the pizza. Once that's done, we will create another class outside this, cart buttons, and inside this let's create two buttons, add to cart, and I'm gonna copy this down, Control D. Alright, then we can name this close. So this will be responsible to closing our overlay. So I have that ready. Now we can see we have the information here. Now let's try to style this. So we come down to the our style component, and here we can start styling this. So I'm gonna first give the overlay its overall style, which will be position fixed, because we want the overlay to open at a fixed position. So position fixed, top 0, left 0. Let's give it a width of 100%, and we give it a height of 100% as well. The next thing, we can give it a background color, which is 1F, 1E, 1E, 7C. So this is like a faded dark color. So you can see that we got that faded black color at the back. So once we click on it, it will have that color. Now we cannot scroll it because we have a fixed position, and then we just display flex, align item center, justify content center. When we give it a Z index, so when we click on it, so it stays above the other elements, so it doesn't go behind them, doesn't hide behind them. So we'll give it a Z index of 100. Box shadow, let's give it a box shadow effect of 0, 10 pixel, 15 pixels, and RGB 0, 0, 0, 20%, color black, and box sizing, border it's no box shadows, box sizing. So once we've done that, now we will go to this class, which is pizza menu, that falls under overlay. So inside this overlay, we'll go pizza menu, and we'll give it a display flex, justify content center, align item center, align item center, and let's see. So it's going right side because by default flex directions are row, so we're going to provide a flex direction column that's looking in the center already. And just like before, the image is too big, so let's try to make the image smaller first. So images also fall under this, so I'm going to give the image a height of 400 pixels and a width of 400 pixels. So yeah, that now we can see it. Now we can do the next styling for the pizza menu, which would be padding 5 pixels, margin 5 pixels, and box shadow we can give it 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 6 pixels, and negative 2 pixels gray color. That you can see that here. The width is a little bit wider, but we will fix that when we fix the P tag, because the P element has the most width. Alright, so now that we have the image, and this is our overlay that's looking like a wow at the moment, so we're gonna make some style, apply some styles to it and make it look better. So let's go h2, because we have h2 inside this as well, so we're gonna style the h2 and p, so the description and the title. So I'm getting the h2 from there, and font family, we're gonna give it a sans serif. So we're not gonna give it this, but we're gonna give it Roboto. Let's see if we have provided this font before. Font family, Roboto sensor. So we're gonna copy this one and I'm gonna put this one here. The next thing for the p tag, let's also give it a size. So font size will be 2M. Now let's style the p tag. So p tag width, we will give it 18 m, and color for now let's keep it red. Let's see if it's applying. Yet it does. Text overflow, ellipsis, and text align center. Font family, this one will be Poppin. So Poppin should be here, so we're gonna copy this and let's apply this font family to this, and let's see. Yeah, so we have got that. Now we need to style the bottom sections, which are the cart and add to cart and close button, and the items increasing and decreasing. So with that, we are in the pizza menu. Let's see, pizza menu div starting from there to there. Let's go, what's the name of the class? Bottom area. So we're now coming to the bottom area. Let's display flex, and it is here. So you can see by default the flex property display the items, align the items in a row. So we need to provide it the column section. So we have to provide the direction, flex direction column, so they will come back to that. Align items center, justify content space between, so they have space in between them, and width 100%, height let's give it 130 pixels. So we have H3 in the middle of price area, which is not kind of aligning in the center, but we'll see that. Let's do the price first. Price area. So this class is coming from this one, price area, and inside bottom area. And then price area will also have display flex, line item center, justify content space around, and a width of 50%. So that's perfectly fine. Now that we have this and this, now let's try to style the buttons. So we're gonna get this button and this button both together inside the price area class. So we are still inside price area and we're using style component, so we can just declare button and we can give them common properties here. So background as the 93333, border none or 0, whatever you prefer, font size 1.2 rem, and width of 20%. You can give it cursor pointer, so we have a pointer color white, so FFF, and let's give it a transition. So we give it an animation effect, transition all on hover, so it will have 0.1 as is in, so that's 0.1 as is in or out, and transform scale 0.9, so make it a bit small, but when we hover over it, so it will become back to its normal scale, which is scale 1. So we're gonna give it a hover effect, so and hover background color, that would be just dark, and transform scale would be just 1. So let's see that. So you can see that we have a nice hover effect on top of this. Now we come to this class card buttons. So after this, inside the bottom area, we're gonna style the card buttons. Card button display flex. So now we are styling these bottom buttons, these ones. Align item center, justify content space evenly. Not yet, we need to provide a width, I guess. So width 100%. Yep, now we have some space between, and let's give it a padding 10 pixels, so we have some padding from all around. Now let's style the buttons inside it. So that was for the both of them. Now we will style the individual buttons. So first we're gonna provide some common style to both of the buttons. To do that, I'm gonna select both the button, border none, border radius 5 pixels, padding 10 pixels, background, let's see, actually it should be FF 6C22, white, font size 14 pixels, and let's also give this a cursor pointer. So now we can see that both the buttons having the common styles. So now but we don't want that, we want one button to be different than another. So now what we're going to do, since this button property is applying to both of these buttons, as you can see up here, so we are selecting card button class and both the button inside it, and this is applying the style. But now we want to provide different style to the other button. So what we can do, button and child 2, so background So now we have a different style button here. Now let's try to make the overlay a little bit different, because we only want the middle part to be visible, and so they are both having the same background color. So let's change the color of the middle section that contains the information. So that would be the color of this. So what we can do is we can just make this more visible like this, and let's see. Yep, so this is like much better than what we were seeing before. So now we gonna work on calling this component, this overlay component, when the user actually click on one of the pizzas, and change this image dynamically as well. So what we can do for that one, I'm going to go into the home, let's go to the app first and then Control Z here. So we only rendering home here, and we are rendering this pizza. So what we're gonna do is we want to click on any of these pizzas and then have that pop-up or overlay appear on top of these. So, and then we can see a more detailed view of that pizza with the description for, because we cannot read the whole description here. Actually we can, but let's see the more visible view of that pizza. So let's go ahead and do that. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the menu. This is where we're gonna render our overlay when we click on these menu items. So what we can do is we can create a use state here. So inside this, let's remove that space so that comment belongs to that one. We can create a use state and we can name it whatever you want. I'm gonna name it selected pizza, and then of course use state takes set state action, which is set selected pizza. And this is, we have React from React, so what we can do is React dot use state, and we have to provide it a value of null, because when we haven't selected anything from here, so this value stays null. But when we select this, so we pass this information to the use state, and then this use state get access to that. So we need to declare types for this one as well. So what we can do, we already have the types here. We can pass these types to this use state, because when the pizza menu pop-up menu opens, so it has these types, pizza types, and it's either pizza types or either null, because when it's selected, when this use state is selected, when we click on it, then the type is pizza types. Otherwise, when it's not selected, it's still a null type. So there's no type provided to this, so it's or null, and by default it's null, we know that. So we have got that, and now let's come down and create a function here, const open overlay, and let's pass it pizza as parameter, and we will give this type of pizza type as well, because that pizza data is, this is what we are expecting to see on that overlay as well. And this is an arrow function. Inside this, what we're gonna do is obviously set selected pizza to pizza. So we're gonna, whatever that parameter is taking will get selected this, and this will set it to this. This is what we're gonna get via prop. So let's go ahead and create another function which will close this. So const close overlay, this will take no arguments, no parameters, returns nothing. So we're gonna get set the selected pizza to null here upon that clicking on that button. So close overlay, open overlay. So if we come to this, so filtered menu is here, and inside this, where is the div desktop info menu container? Yeah, so onto our menu container we're gonna add an on click event. So this is the div, this is this div, menu container is this div. So we're gonna apply an on click event to this div. All of these are the same class, menu container div. So when we click on this menu container div, it will access that open selected pizza function. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna provide an on click event. Inside this, we are going to pass it open overlay, and then pass it that parameter pizza. So once we have done that, now we need to render it. So if we come down here, so if we come here below this, what we can do is selected, just like we rendered filtered menu, we need to render this use state, so we're going to render selected pizza. Selected pizza and pizza overlay. So close overlay, we're gonna do this for now. Let's see if this is working. As you can see, that's working perfectly fine. We have click on it and the pizza open, but there's no way to close it, so I'm going to refresh the page. Let's try clicking on tandoori chicken. So you can see that it is happening, but we are not passing the values as a prop. So what we're gonna do is if we go to overlay component, come to the overlay component, here we're gonna declare some props, and let's create an interface here. Interface pizza items overlay, or just say pizza items props. And inside this, let's say all items, which will be pizza type. Let me see if I'm exporting that. Yes, so this is exported from here and I can access this in any component. So pizza type is there, and we need a close pop-up, which will be a void function type. So let's do it void. And let's tell the React that this is a functional component, fc react.fc, and let's pass it these props. React.functional component, and inside this functional component we're gonna pass all items and close pop-up. So the all items is gonna go to these. So now what we can do, rather than doing this, let's start from the image. So now we're gonna get rid of the hard-coded image, or maybe like the image address linked image, and we're gonna do it all items dot image. So now we have access to that, and same thing we're gonna do to everything. Wherever we have hard-coded, that's gonna come dynamically now. So all items dot, that would be name, p tag would be the description, all items dot description, and then we have a price. So we're gonna leave the $sign there. All items dot price, and then this one, this button will have on click event, which will take that close pop-up function. So now that I have provided the types, now this will scream where I'm rendering this, because now we have types. This is expecting types, props, sorry. This is expecting props that it's missing, so I have to pass those props. So in order to do that, what I can do is all items, and what I can pass with all item is selected pizza, and then we have a function close pop-up. What we can pass to the close pop-up is close, so this function that we commented out, so we can pass it close overlay. So once we have that, we have no warnings, all clear. And now let's see if it's working. So we can click on vegetarian, we can cheese lover. You can see that picture has changed to cheese lover, where there is some UI issue that we need to fix. But let's test the close button. That's working perfectly fine. Let's see the meat pizza, and we see that we actually getting the same. We're gonna test that if we are getting the same picture, same name, and same description and price. So let's try with the egg one. So click on it. So we have go vegetarian slingshot, tomato base, price is same, yeah, everything is working perfectly fine. Just need to give it a Z index because of the background color is too faded. So let's go back to pizza overlay, and I think we changed this here. Okay, so I need to give this container a separate color. So pizza menu need to have another background color, which let's say white for now. There you go, guys. Perfectly fine. Now you can see we can close it. We can click on any pizza, vegetarian pizza. In this case the image is a bit long. I think it's taking the size automatically depending on the image, because I have given it a height auto as well, width and height. So we can see by testing Chipotle chicken, we can click on Chipotle chicken. The Chipotle chicken opens and then it renders the same exact stuff that's written here, the description, and the price is same, and add to cart, close. So this is how we can create an overlay, by just passing the props to this component. So all we did, we created this overlay first. We passed it some hard-coded values. There was no data that was rendering dynamically. Created a UI, and then what we did, we came to the menu. We created a use state here with the appropriate types, and then we just created these two functions. One is responsible to open the overlay, which takes a parameter called pizza, and then it set selected pizza with that parameter pizza, so that value gets set to this selected pizza. And now we are passing this to we are rendering that conditionally. When that's clicked, we want to render pizza overlay, and we passing that selected pizza items to this, and then we passing the close overlay function as a prop to that overlay as well, because this close overlay function can only be accessed inside this overlay with this button. So this is what's happening here, and that's pretty much for this part. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and next part we will create the context API and see how we can actually implement the cart functionality. Please watch the first video if you don't know what's going on this one, and then follow the next one. So go step by step, and thank you so much, guys, for watching it. Hope you guys enjoy it, and just do your best. Just keep coding, guys, and I'll see you in the next part. Thank you.